There's no better pathway to self-realization and the ennoblement of being than to posit the highest good that you can conceive of and commit yourself to it. And then you might also ask yourself, and this is definitely worth asking, is do you really have anything better to do? And if you don't, well, why would you do anything else?
I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Because almost everything, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now. And it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it. Get on with it. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them.
Something before, you expect yourself to be awesome at it. You haven't done the work, you haven't put in the time, you haven't put in the study hours, you haven't had the experience, but you expect to be good. And because you expect to be good, but you know you're not going to be good, you don't do anything. You want to be somebody who succeeds, you want to be somebody who builds something, you want to be somebody who people write books about one day, you're going to have to be okay with being bashed for a long time.
Those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream.
Let's go, let's go. Good morning, family. Super excited. Rise and grind. Another day to go ahead and take advantage and take action. You see the topic for today. There is no comfort zone. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the day. Super grateful to be on here with you guys. Grateful to be healthy. Grateful for the opportunity. Grateful for another chance to grow and take advantage. So let's go ahead and get into it, right? The first thing, stick what is comfortable and what is familiar. But the truth is, your comfort zone, there's nothing comfortable sitting inside of your comfort zone. So today, I want you to think about 4 different things, right, to go ahead and put you in perspective. The first thing, to go ahead and boost your self-efficacy and to go ahead and live a better life, you need to put things in perspective. So the first thing I want you guys to think about is think of a time when you actually stepped outside of your comfort zone, right? Something that made you nervous, and I want you to go ahead and put it in the chat. What are some things that you guys have done that you were nervous at the beginning, but you eventually went out and you made it happen? Now, I want you to really think back, even think years back. Here's an example. It could be riding a bike. It could be going on a plane, traveling for the first time by yourself, right? It could be speaking in front of people. It could be making a video. All of these different things at one time you were nervous to do, but guess what? You went out, you felt the feeling, but you did it anyways, and that's where the real growth begins. So that's the first question I want you to think about. The second one is right here. What is an example of some of the mentors that you've seen get out of their comfort zone, right? What are some people's stories that you've been able to see them stretch a little bit more than what they were first used to doing, right? Jawanza said the first time I posted a video back in the day, talking to people that I wasn't normally used to talking to, making videos on my private life, getting vulnerable, right? I love it. All of these different things are nervous for you at the beginning, but eventually it doesn't get easier, you just get better. So that's number 1. Number 2, what are some examples of mentors that you've been able to see get outside of their comfort zone? For me, Matt Rosa, Jason Brown, they were delivering Chinese food and pizza 6-7 years ago when they first started the industry, right? Cash Cartier was a busboy. Christopher Derrick went into the army, and had no idea about trading, but he needed a skill set to be able to provide for his children. Austin Godsey was living out of his car. His girlfriend was 8 months pregnant when he first got introduced to the opportunity. Alex Morton graduated college, barely got out of one of the biggest party colleges in Arizona State, and a year later made his first $1 million. So you've got to be able to understand that if others did it, there's no way that we can't do it as well. Okay, so that's going to put things in perspective to show that you can do it. Right? Look at the list. The list goes on and on. Steve Harvey, Lisa Nichols, Richard Branson, Oprah Winfrey, right? The writer who wrote Harry Potter, R.J. Rowling. Huge success stories. KFC wasn't created until he was 52 years old. So a lot of examples out there for you to think about. Number 3, I want you to surround yourself with those that encourage you to step outside of your comfort zone, right? It's a whole different story when you start getting around others that are stretching, and guess what? It's gonna make you stretch as well, because what you're around, you end up becoming. That's why they say you get around 5 egos, you're gonna end up becoming the 6th. So my goal for you guys is, if you stay around the fire, if you get around those that are constantly moving, that are constantly growing, it's going to force you to want to be able to do the same. I'll give you an example, right? 4 or 5 years ago, when I was in college, I had 2 sets of roommates by the time that I was in college and by the time a couple years when I was done, and it was 2 different work ethics. The first side, when I got home, they were playing video games, smoking and joking, and watching Netflix. I didn't lead to being very productive, right? But then you have on the other side, when I started getting around individuals, when I got home, some were taking notes, some were reading books, some were on millionaire mentorship calls, and guess what it drove me to do? I didn't want to come home and just sit and be lazy. I wanted to pick up a book. I wanted to get some notes. I wanted to go ahead and grow my mindset. So it's so important for you guys to be around it, because believe it or not, whatever you see in your peripherals affects you more than you think, okay? So I need you guys to understand that if you're around the fire, it's naturally going to rub off on you. And last but not least, number 4, for the 4 ways to boost your self-efficacy and do better in your own life is right here. You've got to be able to talk to yourself daily about escaping where you are at right now. Everybody thinks the comfort zone is great, but truth is there's nothing comfortable. So the goal is we want to escape the feelings that we're feeling right now. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling depressed, guess how you go ahead and take over those emotions? Believe it or not, by taking action. It's scary to take action, but what's scarier? Being scared to take the action, or taking the action and feeling the result and feeling good after? Which would you rather have, right? So at the end of the day, every time that you feel something that makes you nervous, which would be worse? It's always going to be better taking the action and seeing what you could have done versus wondering what if, thinking about the failures, because you'll never know if you could fly if you never jump. Okay? So I want you guys to go ahead and think about this, okay? When we're on this screen right now, I'm going to give you guys an example of role play so you can evaluate where your mindset is right now. We're behind a screen, and I cannot see right now how you are sitting. I cannot see your posture. But if I were to not be able to see you, and you could tell me your posture, I can have an idea of your energy, right? If you're telling me you're sitting with your shoulders slouched, your back is hunched, what do you think is going to happen to the actions that go out in your life? You're probably going to be lazy. You're probably not going to have a lot of energy when you talk to people. But if you put somebody behind a screen that's sitting up, sitting with their shoulders back, that's feeling confident, guess what? That energy ripples more than you'll even know. So believe it or not, if you put me around somebody for literally 2 minutes, I can get an idea of your energy before you even speak. And if you don't believe me, let's take it a step further, right? Animals and humans, we have what's called power poses. So I touched on this a little bit before, but I want you to understand it at a different level. When animals are confident, what is the pose that they're doing, right? When you can tell an animal is confident, what are they doing? A bird spreads their wings. A snake, a viper, spreads their neck, right? A peacock spreads their wings. So guess what? If I were to look at somebody as confident, what would I be able to see in somebody that's confident? They're open. They're spread out. What is somebody that is not confident? That has a terrible self-image. They're very closed. They're very in tight, right? So you need to take a look at even your posture right now. How are you guys sitting? How are you feeling? Because believe it or not, your posture dictates your energy. Your posture dictates the way that you speak. So when you go out in the world, I want you to be aware of this, because believe it or not, the next time that you go to the gas station and you look at the person that's giving you your receipt, I want you to pay attention to their posture and their energy. Okay? Because you're going to be able to see it all over. So many people, they're dull. They're living in a negative world, and it ripples in their body. So if you can start to fix this, you can start to internally fix the inside. Okay? So that was something that was really cool that I found pretty interesting. The next thing I want you guys to think about, what are some of the effects when you feel powerful? Because when you feel powerful and when you feel dull, you have two completely different mindsets. So I want you to drop in the chat, what are some characteristics that you feel when you're feeling powerful internally? And I'm going to show you the difference. I'm going to show you how you can actually utilize these characteristics. You ready? The first one, you're going to be more optimistic. The second one, you're going to be less fearful and you're going to have less worry. Number 3, less self-doubt. 4, cognitive belief. 5, abstract thinking. 6, being more creative. 7, execution. You see all these different characteristics that you take when you're feeling powerful, when you're feeling confident, but then when you're on the other side of the spectrum, when you're feeling dull, you don't feel like taking action. You're scared of what other people think. You have a lot of worry. You have a lot of stress. So the way to fix that, believe it or not, starts internally, okay? So last but not least, the best leaders have 2 things, okay? And if you really study them, you're going to notice this and it's going to make sense. So believe it or not, the best leaders, number 1, they have a low cortisol level, okay? They have a low cortisol level and they have a high testosterone. So what does that mean? That means to be able to be confident, you're not going to be able to allow yourself to have negative energies take from you. The second thing is your cortisol level, your cortisol levels. What is that? That's your stress. How many things in a day do you let bother you for the whole day? If I were to give you one tip, if it's not going to matter in 5 months, don't spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it. Some of you guys are still worried about who cut you off 3 weeks ago. Some of you guys are still worried about who told you no a month ago. Okay, you've got to be able to be connected to everything and attached to nothing. Okay, so the biggest leaders, that is the 2 things that they understand. So that's my training for you guys today on how to get out of your quote unquote comfort zone. So if you feel like you've been anxious, if you feel like you've been sad, if you feel like you've been depressed, I'm going to tell you the best way to go ahead and go at that is to run at things that make you afraid, because nothing is going to feel better than getting little wins, right? It takes the little wins to create the bigger picture. So whether that's going out and exercising today, eating healthy meals for the rest of the day, going out and talking to somebody that you didn't know before, once you do it, you're going to feel a lot better than just wondering what if. So that's my training for you guys today. I truly believe in you, but it takes you to go out and believe in yourself. So if nobody told you today, you are powerful, you're amazing, you're unstoppable, and I will see you guys at the top because the whole squad is coming together. Drop some threes. Let's get to work.